Hey guys, welcome to Small Bites with Lindz. This isn't another podcast about rules on how to live your best life, but a podcast about breaking negative cycles with food, fitness, and life that we have learned through social media. It's really about getting back your power, not feeling like a prisoner to what we're seeing online every day. I'm here to answer commonly asked questions that I get from you guys, drawing from my experience as a certified Pilates and yoga trainer. So I thought, what better way to kick off this podcast than to answer the question I get the most, which is about nutrition. What to eat, what's your diet like, what should I do to lose weight? So really, I needed to bring in the right person for this. And that just so happens to be my best friend from childhood. She is a registered dietitian. So she has the tools and the education to really back up what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm here to introduce to you guys Michaela Putala.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela. As you know, I'm a registered dietitian and Lindsay's best friend. So I'm here to talk about all things nutrition. Also, I do specialize in something called intuitive eating, which we will talk about soon. So intuitive eating, eating disorder recovery, body image, all those things. I help you heal your relationship with food. So, Linz, you asked me, or what is the question that you get most often?
You're right. It's nutrition and diet, which I get because I think, people think immediately, oh, fitness is all about losing weight instead of just feeling good.
Yeah.
They associate it immediately with, the aesthetic and weight loss.
Isn't that crazy that fitness can't just be for stress?
Oh my gosh,
release
for me, it's 100% become for my mental health.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely need that these days and thankful for it.
So everyone wants to know what to do, right? How do you eat? What do you eat? How can I look like you?
So how can I look like you?
Which is, crazy. But so as a dietitian, one thing that I will say is you can eat the same, move the same, do everything the same as someone else and still not look the same.
Right.
We are all born different shapes and sizes. So many things are at play whenever it comes to your body weight, your shape, how toned you are, and everything else. And so no matter what, by asking you that question, Linz, what do you eat? What do you do? What do I do? It's really impossible to answer.
Right. And just because I tell them I couldn't even tell them what I do because I actually do not follow any specific diet, seriously. I just try to, eat healthy, but also enjoy life. We know that I like my wine.
Yes.
But I couldn't even come up with what it is. So, and even if I could, everybody's body is differently. It depends how you respond to certain foods.
Yeah.
And I'm also I always think about this, I'm a 5'3" woman. If a 6-foot guy is asking me what I eat and he followed what I ate, he probably wouldn't feel great. So it doesn't really, everything's very individualized.
Exactly. And so if you think about it, anyone who is listening, I want you to ask yourself, how has it been helpful for me to follow a diet plan, to follow someone else? Or if you ever watch those What I Eat in a Days.
Oh my gosh, I hate What I Eat in a Days. And I also don't believe them.
I don't either.
I'm oh, please. I'm sure that's what you eat in a day.
Yeah. And it's all very curated, aesthetically pleasing.
And all those
it's
things. Pretty.
It's my life, I can't.
Yeah. Also, the other thing about What I Eat in a Day is it practical? This woman's making cheesy pasta at noon and putting a salmon fillet on it. I'm who has the time to make this?
Exactly. I'm going in and getting some chicken nuggets from the freezer.
Something that's quick. That's why I eat so much peanut butter because I'm it's something quick.
Yeah. And that's something that we are all born into this society with someone else telling us when, what, and how much to eat. So we don't trust ourselves. We think that there's someone else who holds that answer for us. And I hate to break it to everyone here, but no one else holds that answer. Only you do. And you can eat according to you and your body. It is possible to be able to understand how much food you need, when you need to eat, abide by your hunger, your fullness, knowing what you want to eat, all those things. you can do that with just your body alone. You do not need someone else telling you when, what, and how much to eat. And that is the biggest takeaway here, is that at the end of the day,
you hold the key.
Yes, you do.
But really, I 100,000,000% agree. I guess it's probably what we're all thinking is like, so how do we reconnect to that? We've all lost, and we talk about this a lot in exercise, and a lot in my Pilates classes is the mind-body connection.
Yeah.
So, daily we're moving through our lives not even aware of how our body is. We have terrible posture, our head's hanging low, texting all day, so that's affecting the physical body. And now we're talking about something a little bit more like internal, obviously, of being hungry. And we're brainwashed, in my opinion, by ads, social media, other people we look up to because they look good. And we've lost touch with what are we craving? What's satisfying? Am I full?
Yeah. And that's
like, how do you find that connection again?
Oh, and I wish it was a piece of cake. But so.
Well, so do I.
But so reconnecting with that, first you have to become aware of what rules do you follow? Who do you follow on social media, in your everyday life? Who is telling you what to eat, when to eat? Like, what rules are you following? That's the first thing, and you have to be aware of it. You can't do anything. You can't
and maybe
break
they're
anything.
even self-imposed too, because I think I've just said a lot of social media, but I actually think my issues are, when we were kids, man, it was crazy the stuff that we'd see online.
Oh yeah.
I remember just like so many celebrities were like, they had eating disorders, and it was hard to see and so confusing. We were like 12 years old, and on every tabloid, you're like, oh, am I supposed to look like that?
Yeah.
And now for me, I think it's more just like, I'm very competitive with myself, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So it's not always just external. It's also what are we, like the negative self-talk, what are we telling ourselves?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly
oh my God,
it.
That's a whole nother episode.
Oh, negative self-talk. Well, and so it's about so that's what I'm talking about when I say create awareness, is that voice in your head that's telling you, oh, I shouldn't have that, or oh, what should I have for lunch, or oh, should I have breakfast? Because people say I shouldn't eat until this time, or when I was on Weight Watchers, or whenever I was on insert whatever diet you have done, whenever I was counting calories, I didn't do this. You have this list of rules in your head, and you have to sit there and write them out. You have to list them out and say, oh, okay, I'm noticing that this should, anytime you should, here's a little key. Anytime you should yourself, it's a rule. It's a rule, write it down. Just become aware. So that is step number 1.
I should do this.
Yes.
So that's not a good thing.
Not a good thing, because you're taking yourself out of your body. And anytime, and that's what we're trying to fix here. We're trying to connect you back with your body, and you can't do that without awareness and just getting those rules out and writing them down. So that's step 1. And step 2 is, it's actually not going to look intuitive at first. It's not going to feel good at first, which is another kind of, it kind of sucks, because after years and years of listening to rules, you have to break patterns, and inherently breaking patterns does not feel good. It's uncomfortable, because you're going to be breaking rules. You're going to be giving yourself permission to have the thing you want for lunch, or to actually eat breakfast. And those rules are in the back of your head kind of screaming at you, saying, don't do it, that's bad. But it's not bad.
Right.
And that's connecting yourself back with your body, is eating regular meals throughout the day, trying to listen to your body of, what do I want? And also knowing that, and here's we can do a whole nother episode on good versus bad food, but there is no such thing as good versus bad foods. At the end of the day, stressing over eating something will kill you before the food itself. So that is where.
Funny, sorry. But, I get it, right? Because we stress so much about what we're eating, and it's like, is that even healthy? No.
It's really not, and it's just disconnecting you more from your body. It's creating more rules. See, here we are, more rules.
Eating is like a mental health topic.
Oh yeah. It's not. If it was about food,
there's nothing to do with like the food. Yeah.
It's much more about what's going on inside your head. So this part that I'm talking about of breaking your food rules, which is basically step 2 of doing the opposite thing of what your food rule is telling you to do. That's the scary part I'm talking about. That doesn't feel so good or intuitive, but at the end of the day, that is you healing your relationship with food, and you becoming more intuitive in the end. because a little caveat here is if you do struggle with like eating a lot in one sitting, or like being really good during the week and then really bad on the weekend or anything like that, that's because you uplift some foods and you demonize some foods. And because you demonize foods and only save them for a certain time of the day or for a certain day of the week, you're going to eat a crap ton of those foods.
You lose it.
Yeah, and that's not healthy either. So it's really letting these foods come in your everyday life, and stop demonizing them. That way they can become neutral and you don't feel like you have to eat 20 million Oreos
neutral
in one
foods.
sitting.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of a relaxing anti-anxiety word when you're thinking about food.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Because food, it doesn't have to have power, but also we forget how awesome food really is. Like, it's so much. It's joy. It's community. It's like, it's love. People have it as a career.
Right.
Art. Oh my gosh, cakes. And like, there's so many things like that food involves. If it's a big stressor in your life, then it's
time to work on it.
Yeah.
Because we can't keep going on like this.
Yeah.
It's not good for us.
No. So, step 2. Break your food rules. Do the opposite of what the food rule is telling you to do. So, yeah.
I love it. I mean, I've been watching all the stuff you put out on your Instagram and your YouTube now, and it just is like, it's such an important message to me. I never had really bad struggles, but I feel like, I think I've had normal ones. Mm-hmm. And really getting to a place where there's nothing I tell myself I can't have. It's made it so much easier to have, a more natural relationship with food. Mm-hmm. So, like, I eat the dessert when I want it, and it's no big deal, and I don't feel bad after the next day, and I don't overeat it because I didn't not allow myself to have it. Is that a double negative? But yeah. This isn't true. An English podcast, guys.
Yes. Well, and that's so true, though. That's because you took the power away from it.
It's crazy how much it's helped. It's still, like, challenging, but I definitely, there's a lot less stress there in my life, which is, that's why we're making this podcast right now and talking about this, because it would be amazing if everyone could start to stress less about this.
Yeah, and it's also just bringing up the fact that you're not alone if you are struggling with food. I think that a lot of us hide these things because there's so much shame and guilt around food. I know I hid my struggles very, very deeply for a very, very long time. And, that we can't heal that way. So if you are just looking for another diet plan or another, like, method to lose weight. And one little thing I want to talk about is, if you have dieted before, I want you to ask yourself a few questions here. When you were on that diet, did you lose weight? Yes or no? Then, moving forward, were you able to maintain that weight loss? Yes or no? If you were not able to maintain that weight loss, then why? What happened? If you were able to maintain that weight loss, you might not be listening to this episode, but why is it, what is it costing you? So a lot of times we will fight tooth and nail to stick to a diet and then fall off of it, then get back on it. And diets are unsustainable. They do not work. If they worked, we would all be done by now and have our dream body, but they do not work. Even as we have new medications out for diabetes, weight loss, all the things, doctors are coming out and saying diets don't work. So finally, they are admitting to the things that they have told you to do your whole life, they don't work. It's taken a while to get them to say that, but they're actually saying it now, which is great because it's validating to let you know that nothing is wrong with you. Diets are designed to fail. Yeah. And because your body is so smart and it's going to fight you tooth and nail.
Because you need to eat.
Yeah, to get you back to, we all have a natural body weight range that we like to sit at.
Yeah.
And your body will fight you to sit at that, which is why if you ever experience overeating, binge eating, food obsession, thinking about food 24/7, it's all signs that your body's like, hey, feed me. I need more food. And so knowing that diets do not work.
And I feel like whenever I really have worked on it. I don't really restrict. I don't not count calories. I don't do any of that anymore. So, like, thinking back, though, when I did restrict, I ate so much worse. And I had, like, way overeating moments. Now I don't restrict, and it's just much more balanced.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how that works. This is a mental game.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it really has nothing to do with, like, food. You know what I mean? Yes, it does. Indirectly. But it's the mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Again, it's not about the food. If it was about the food, it'd be easy. But it's about so much more.
We need a new word for this. Like, if anyone wants to start eating, like, more, like, I guess intuitive eating. That's what it is.
It's intuitive
Focus
eating.
on how you're feeling.
Satisfaction, fullness, and all those things. And it's interesting because it may not look how you think it's going to look because you're so used to dieting. And that's one thing I do want to mention is that a lot of times, whenever you are trying to listen to your body and all the things, you may be having something sweet every day. You may be having carbs you're probably going to have carbs at every meal because that's what normal is. And we are so brainwashed to think that we should just have like a piece of meat and broccoli. No, that is not normal eating. And so it's really unwiring all that and seeing what works for you and your body because you have a different body, you have different environment, history, genetics, diet history, like preferences, tastes, culture, right? You eat different things based on where you live in this world. So it's really important to listen to all those things and eat according to them. You do not have to make it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah, and you don't have to follow any rules.
No, you don't. You don't. And so, yeah.
I think we crushed it.
All right.
Well, guys, thank you guys for tuning in for the first episode of Small Bites with Lindz and Michaela today.
Yes.
Thank you for her for coming up with this lovely name for the podcast.
Absolutely.
It has really stuck.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to hear if you guys have any topics you'd like us to touch on or me to touch on in the future. And I will talk to you soon. And be sure to check out Michaela's YouTube and Instagram. Let them know where to find you.
I am Food Peace Nutritionist on Instagram and then Food Peace Nutrition on YouTube. So make sure to check.
And you can find it in the description below. I'm going to put all of her details in there.
Beautiful.
Have a good day, guys. Bye.